Hi everyone, here I'm trying a variation of Jinteki. I think Jinteki is actually in a pretty good place right now. Even though Shapers can, with careful play, you can easily win against Jinteki with Shaper. And even with Criminal, it's still not too difficult. But what I feel Jinteki really brings to the table is the ability to punish Noise pretty badly. And Noise is pretty dominant now in the meta game, or at least in my local game group, where everyone's trying out Noise to see how to optimize playing Noise. And yeah, Noise really punishes slow decks, like Glacier decks, your typical Glacier decks. And is also decent against ambient fast advance. So maybe Jinteki will now be a good solution against Noise. Well, we'll find out. So this is a variation of Jinteki, as I said, very ice-light, and mostly lots of assets, traps, and of course all the one-pointer powerful agendas. Alright, so what happens at the start of the game? He installs a Scheherazade that quickly sets his economy up and attempts to begin milling cards with him. But he doesn't mill my diversified portfolio. I guess he doesn't feel like it's a threat right now because I only have one remote on the table. The other reason why I say Jinteki is a strong option against Noise is because of Shock. You have access to Shock Infection and you have a reason to play it. Shock really punishes the runner for accessing archives. Every time they do so, they are going to get hit pretty hard. So running 3 Shocks, which is a standard in Jinteki, allows you to really punish the runner for doing so. And here I make a mistake. I should have overwritten the Shock with my new install. The first remote server was a Shock. I should have overwritten it immediately so that it goes into archives and immediately I can start hitting him for net damage every time he runs archives. Alright, as you see, this is not the Jinteki that I'm expecting. There's a Ghost Branch in there. This is Tech Punishment Jinteki. I mean, you have the best ambush card in the entire game. It's called Snare and it gives attack, so why not take advantage of it? Nope, I'm not running Scorched Earth. Instead, I'm doing Dedicated Response T. Yup, that is the way I punish runners for harboring tags. And it's really good, not just against Noise, but also against anyone running Account Siphon. So if they attempt to siphon me, and attempt to make a run somewhere else later, I can rest all the DRTs and they will find themselves at odds, about to get flatlined. Alright, so here I install 2 remotes, a Ghost Branch and a Psychic Field. Usually, the way that most people play Jinteki is that when they want to sneak an agenda on the table, they usually install multiples in the same turn, 2 or 3 assets in the same turn. So that if the runner hits the wrong one, they will have to seriously reconsider running the rest because they will have less cards in their hand due to hitting a Psychic Field or Snare. They cannot afford to run the other assets, and as a result, you can score the agenda safely. That is the tendency of most runners, most corps, to take advantage of the fear factor. But against this runner, he clearly seems completely disinterested in making any remote runs at all, which is not a good idea. Because, as you saw earlier, I managed to land a Philotic Entanglement on the table. He has no idea that it's dormant right there, ready to strike at any time. If he scores or steals too many agendas, he is going to get burned real bad. And there's no infection way for him to avoid the net damage. So this is why Jinteki is so scary. Once you get that lone Philotic Entanglement on the table, game just got really hard. Yeah, he's completely oblivious to it. I mean, you have to expect it as a runner playing against Jinteki. That one copy of Philotic Entanglement is what really screws up the game for you. It's the only thing that makes your game harder as the game progresses. And boy, does it really make your game harder. Yep. Especially if you don't like to face check remotes. Alright, so he continues making R&D runs. It is a good way to actually pressure Jinteki because better for the traps to be accessed from R&D than to eat them from the remote. Psychic Field is really nasty, and yeah, you basically get to control what your opponent draws, which is very important. So as such, he managed to deny one House of Knives from me, a very crucial agenda in my deck, obviously. And he trashed a Psychic Field, meaning that that's one less trap I have to play with. I finally remember to override my Shock, so now if he makes an Archives run, he's going to take that damage. There are no agendas in there currently because he already fished out the Fetal AI from it earlier, which was pretty sad. Fetal AI is the one agenda you don't want to see in your Archives simply because they don't take the 2 net damage that you normally get from accessing Fetal AI. So that's the downside of playing Jinteki against anyone with healing capabilities such as Noise. Well, at least I managed to find my Jackson Howard. That is so important against Noise. Sometimes, whether you win or lose versus Noise games, it all comes down to whether you can find even a single copy of that Jackson Howard. Alright, he installs a medium and mills a Chronos Project. New card from Spaces Between. Another silver bullet against Noise. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a silver bullet, but being able to purge 2 or 3 caches from their archives, from the heat, along with their parasites, that is a really strong play. And Jinteki's P is in the best place to take advantage of having 3 ones in the deck. Alright, so seeing that he's so passive with running, I'm just going to Mushin Noshin Killer Hands out there. No harm done if he steals it, and if he doesn't, well, that's 1 extra net damage that I can deal to him straight during my turn. So, for those of you keeping score right now, I managed to shuffle 2 Jackson Howards from my heap that he milled back into my R&D. So once again, very, very thankful that I actually managed to find the last copy of Jackson Howard to salvage the other 2. As for flatline traps, I have 2, I can deal 3 net damage to him right now on my turn by triple advancing my Philotic Entanglement, and plus 1 more from Healer Hand. So if he ends his turn on less than 4 cards, he is doomed. So that's the thing with Noise. It might seem good that because he plays Wyldside, it's pretty resilient to Jinteki. Because he gets 2 free cards, not free, but he gets 2 guaranteed cards every turn. He's in a very good position to run first click and spend the other 2 clicks drawing back up. But this also leaves him in a weak spot because he is most weak at the end of his turn. Because he only has 2 clicks to recover from taking net damage, which means that he really cannot afford to hit Psychic Fields. And at the end of his turn, he's usually left with very few cards. He has to discard down to 5 anyway. So that is where I can really take advantage of scoring a Philotic Entanglement on my turn to flatline him. Okay, so he has been building up pretty nicely. I really wanted to stick a tag on him, but by advancing the Ghost Branch, enticing him into running it, thinking it's a Fetal AI, didn't manage to, however. Tagging him is very important. One of the best ways to counter Noise is to play a tag deck. When Noise is tagged, you can trash Aesops, and that's the main backbone. The main backbone of the economy is gone just like that. The most powerful part of the cash Aesops combo is Aesops Pawn Shop. If you can stop the Aesops from hitting the table, you are in a very good position. And tag flooding allows you to do just that. Alright, so no tags, and instead of running my Ghost Branch, he decides to recurse 2 of his caches, which means I have to mill 2 more cards, and more importantly, it means that he has a lot of money now. It's rather inconsequential against me because I'm looking for the flat line. And as long as he doesn't make one big turn where he scores all the agendas he needs to win the game, I should be good. I'm just worried about that power turn, and it can come because he has a double, a medium with 2 virus counters on it. That is really scary. I'm definitely looking to purge virus counters at an appropriate time. So I know that I'm actually well on the way to winning, because if he even dares to score 1 or 2 more agendas, Philotic Entanglement will just murder him outright. So I'm just waiting for him at this point to score a couple of 3-1 agendas and maybe hit a Fetal AI or a Snare, and he's gone. For real. My only big worry is that he will make a power turn, dig through many agendas, and close out the game before I get a chance to score my Philotic Entanglement. And this is why it's so powerful to have a Philotic early. If they don't face check your remotes, he can't tell which one's the Philotic. There are so many face downs right now. I mean, he has to assume that one of them is a Philotic, and that's way too dangerous to find out. Alright, now I score my first agenda. Until now, I have 3 agendas lying on the table, but I can't afford to score. Scoring any of them will be a waste of time. There are 2 Gila Hands and a Philotic Entanglement. The Gila Hands are pointless because I drew so much money with my diversified portfolios, and Philotic is there for the clean kill. So I need to score the House of Knives now. This will really put the hurt on him. If he dares to run, he has to end his turn on 5 cards. Otherwise, he will get burnt real bad. So yeah. It's funny, I chatted with him in the comments that we were milling each other out. I'm milling his deck due to net damage, and he's milling me due to virus installs. And now you finally see the first copy of DRT. I have 3 copies of Dedicated Response Team that are there to aid me in case he decides to run into a face down snare. But I haven't seen any of those 3. I guess I don't need it this game because all my snares are in my heap right now and he's not running HQ. But oh well. So he does get a Crypsis up and runs R&D. I zap him right at the start for 1 net damage, and he's down to 3 cards, no clicks. This means that if I survive this turn, he loses the game outright. So now I'm just hoping that he doesn't access a Future Perfect, because that's the only thing that can win him the game right now. If he scores a Future Perfect along with another agenda, he wins. Future Perfect is pretty dangerous, 3 agenda points. And right as I said, the Future Perfect. If he scores it, he'll be up to 6 points, and he could win the game if he accesses one more agenda. He fails the size struggle and accesses a fetal AI. Well, that basically does the game in for him. He just decided to stick it in his hand anyway. Funny, because I didn't have a Neural EMP in my hand, but what I did have was 4 net damage, or rather 5 net damage at hand, and there was no way he was going to survive that. Double click that Gila Hands to win the game. So yeah, so throughout the game, he completely ignored my remotes, left a lot of my assets just lying on the table. Even though most of them were not advanced, meaning that I couldn't threaten a kill with Ronin, it still meant 2 big things for me. Firstly, it activates my diversified portfolio. For just playing 1 card, I get so much money, which is so important in triggering traps and raising ice. Having to spend clicks to get money instead of drawing up more traps, installing traps, or advancing cards, that is a huge tempo setback, and diversified portfolio really helps in patching up my deck's shortcomings in credits. Secondly, it also allows me to get a Philotic Entanglement. If the corp can place an naked Philotic Entanglement on the table with full confidence that the runner will not access it, you know that the corp is going to have a very good time that game. And yes, that is the problem in completely avoiding runs as a runner. You always want to plant that seed of doubt in the corp's mind. Make sure that they don't ever feel safe throwing out agendas like that. I'm not sure how you would play as Noise against Jinteki. Ignoring remotes is actually a rather good idea, but Philotic Entanglement will just get the best of you eventually. I think you really have to go for the big power turn where you access 6 or 7 cards at once in order to have a shot at it, or include Keyhole in your deck. Although there probably isn't enough MU or deck space in a virus-based Noise deck for that. All in all, I think Jinteki is pretty decent against Noise, and holds its own against the other factions too. Worth a shot if you're expecting to see lots of Noise in your meta game. And it's always enjoyable to play. As long as you draw your Jackson Howard, that really can't be stressed enough. Jackson Howard really saves the day against Noise. Thanks for watching. Happy net running.